The Iranian government and military implement a cunning strategy to further complicate and hinder U.S. military efforts. In a calculated move, Iran begins hiding critical military assets, such as missile sites, command centers, and weapon depots amongst densely populated civilian and non-military areas. With military targets now closely intertwined with civilian populations, any strike risks causing substantial collateral damage and loss of innocent lives, raising the stakes and the potential for international condemnation. Faced with this complex and morally fraught dilemma, the U.S. military is forced to reevaluate its approach and adapt its strategies. It seeks alternative methods to neutralize Iranian military assets without causing undue harm to civilians, exploring options such as cyber warfare, covert operations, and precision strikes. As the stakes continue to rise, both sides must navigate the ever-changing landscape of modern warfare, each move further escalating the tension and the potential for catastrophe. The choices made in this high-pressure environment will have a profound impact on the course of the conflict, global stability, and the lives of countless civilians caught in the crossfire. In the midst of this crisis, diplomatic efforts continue behind the scenes, attempting to find a way to de-escalate the situation and prevent a full-scale war that could have disastrous consequences for the entire region and beyond. Want to see more? You can now binge-watch all episodes of our series on our website. Get started today and explore the potential of the next world war. As the conflict between Iran and the United States deepens, Iran adopts another tactic, leveraging and weaponizing media assets across the world to shape public opinion in its favor. By framing the United States military presence and attacks as being against the Muslim people rather than the government of Iran, they seek to win hearts and minds and increase pressure on the U.S. and its allies. Iran's message begins to resonate with the local Muslim community across Iranian territory and beyond, fueling anti-American sentiment and creating a sense of unity against a perceived common enemy. As this narrative spreads, the United States faces growing challenges in maintaining support for its actions in the region. The U.S. government and military must now work not only to counter Iran's military strategies, but also to combat the information war being waged against them. To counter Iran's narrative, the United States increases its efforts to communicate the true nature of its mission in the region, emphasizing that the conflict is not against the Muslim people, but rather against the Iranian government's aggressive actions and destabilizing influence. As the information battle rages on, public opinion in the region and around the world becomes a key factor in shaping the course of the conflict. The United States must navigate the delicate balance between achieving its strategic objectives while avoiding the risk of further alienating the very people it seeks to protect. Meanwhile, Iran's efforts to manipulate public sentiment only serve to increase the stakes, as the U.S. and its allies face mounting pressure to find a resolution to the conflict that minimizes civilian casualties and respects the rights and dignity of the people caught in the crossfire. As we continue to explore this harrowing what-if scenario, we'll delve further into the complexities of modern warfare, the power of information and perception, and the challenges faced by world leaders as they seek to resolve this escalating crisis. As Iran's information warfare campaign gains traction and public opinion begins to shift, the conflict takes an unexpected turn. The negative media coverage of the United States stirs strong emotions among Iranian civilians and non-military individuals, who feel compelled to take action against what they perceive as an unjust aggression towards their people. Spurred by a potent mix of duty, national pride, and anger, these ordinary citizens begin to join the military conflict, engaging in guerrilla-style attacks against U.S. military assets in the region. This dramatic development significantly complicates the situation for the United States and its allies, as they struggle to distinguish between combatants and non-combatants on the battlefield and respond to this new and unpredictable challenge. The U.S. military, recognizing the need to minimize civilian casualties and avoid further inflaming anti-American sentiment, shifts its focus to precision strikes and intelligence-led operations. They invest more resources in gathering accurate information and developing innovative strategies to target Iranian military assets without causing undue harm to the civilian population. However, despite their best efforts, the involvement of civilian fighters in the conflict inevitably leads to increased casualties and suffering among the local population. Images of dead and injured civilians further fuel the anger and resentment toward the United States and its allies, creating a vicious cycle of violence, mistrust, and retaliation. As the conflict becomes more deeply entrenched, the United States and its allies face growing international pressure to find a diplomatic solution and put an end to the bloodshed. Behind-the-scenes negotiations intensify as world leaders grapple with the complexities of the situation and search for a path towards peace and stability in the region. The stakes are incredibly high, with the potential for further escalation and regional instability looming large. At the same time, the U.S. military must continue to confront the ever-evolving threat posed by Iranian forces and their newfound civilian support. This delicate balancing act requires a nuanced approach, blending military might with diplomacy and a commitment to protecting the lives and well-being of the people caught in the crossfire. The task is immense, and the pressure on military commanders and political leaders is immense. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay informed about the latest World War III worst-case scenario episodes. Thank you for watching. To stay up to date with our latest releases, all you've got to do is follow us across our various social media platforms. We're talking Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there. Thank you for watching our channel. There's a whole lot more where that came from. Interested in binge-watching all episodes today? Head over to our website to access our entire media library using the URL link in the description. Ready to test your World War II knowledge? What happened to the Soviet Air Force during the opening days of the German invasion? Provide your answer or response in the YouTube comment box below. Stay tuned for the right answer. The answer is, up to 2,000 Soviet aircraft were destroyed while still on the ground. As the conflict between the United States, Iran, and their respective allies intensifies, a new and insidious threat begins to emerge, casting a dark shadow over the region. Massive cyber attacks start to strike on commercial and privately owned infrastructure, wreaking havoc and causing widespread chaos and disruption to the daily lives of millions of people across the region. These highly sophisticated cyber attacks target a wide range of critical systems, including power grids, transportation networks, and communication infrastructure. The resulting outages and disruptions have far-reaching consequences, leaving entire communities without electricity, grinding public transportation to a halt, and causing widespread communication blackouts. The implications of this new cyber warfare front are profound and alarming. As the attacks continue, the risk of catastrophic failures in critical infrastructure systems increases exponentially, with potentially devastating consequences for the civilian population. In addition, the attacks raise concerns about the vulnerability of other nations to similar cyber threats, potentially escalating the conflict to a global scale and bringing the specter of cyber warfare to the forefront of international security concerns. Faced with this new and rapidly evolving challenge, governments and security agencies must work together to bolster their cyber defenses and protect their citizens from harm. This urgent and complex task includes investing in cutting-edge cybersecurity technology, sharing intelligence about emerging threats, and collaborating on the development of effective countermeasures to stay one step ahead of their adversaries in cyberspace. Moreover, as cyber warfare becomes an increasingly integral part of modern conflicts, nations must also develop new strategies and doctrines to address this emerging threat landscape. This will require unprecedented cooperation between military, intelligence, and civilian agencies, as well as the development of innovative approaches to training, education, and technology integration. As the chaos and devastation caused by the escalating conflict between the United States, Iran, and their respective allies spiral out of control, other regional powers begin to take matters into their own hands. In a desperate attempt to protect their interests and assert their dominance, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Israel secretly speed up their preparations for nuclear strikes against Iran. The United States military and government, deeply concerned about the potential consequences of a nuclear conflict, strongly object to these actions. They urge restraint and diplomatic solutions, fearing that a nuclear strike would not only lead to a catastrophic loss of life, but also provoke a wider conflict with disastrous implications for the entire world. As tensions rise to a boiling point, secret negotiations and back-channel communications between the United States, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Israel intensify. The U.S. is committed to convincing their allies to abandon their plans for a nuclear strike and instead pursue a more measured and calculated approach to dealing with the Iranian threat. The success or failure of these diplomatic efforts will have far-reaching consequences, not only for the countries directly involved, but for the entire world. The specter of nuclear warfare looms large, casting a dark shadow over the already tenuous situation in the region and raising the stakes to a level never before seen in modern history. In a shocking and devastating turn of events, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Israel ultimately decide to launch a coordinated nuclear missile attack on Iran, despite the strong objections from the United States and NATO. The nuclear strike hit several key locations within Iran, causing massive civilian and non-military casualties. The immediate aftermath is horrifying, with entire cities reduced to rubble and countless innocent lives lost. This unthinkable act of aggression sends shockwaves throughout the world, pushing the already unstable geopolitical landscape to the brink of global catastrophe. As the dust settles, the full scale of the tragedy becomes clear, leaving the international community reeling and searching for answers. Want to see more? You can now binge-watch all episodes of our series on our website. Get started today and explore the potential of the next world war. Arm yourself with the power of advanced AI for video creation, high-quality copy generation, a diverse range of freelance services, top-notch hosting options, and the ultimate online privacy protection. Don't miss out on exclusive discounts and promotions. Sign up today by clicking on the links in the description. Your journey towards creating compelling content starts now.